Ladies and gentlemen, we are very quickly approaching a full-scale European war between Russia and Ukraine. In just a period of a few hours, things went from U.S. intelligence believes a large invasion is coming within the next 48 hours, and then just a few hours later, bombings starting all over Ukraine by Russia, further Russian troops entering Ukraine, and we are now in the middle of a full-scale invasion of Ukraine by Russian President Vladimir Putin. There were still people, even up until minutes before, saying this is not likely to happen. It's not likely. It just doesn't seem like it's what Putin wants to do. And yet it is what's happening, and we are doing the best we can to keep up with all of the news, which is changing very quickly. Let's just start somewhere with the headline. Russia invades Ukraine in Europe's darkest hours since World War II, reported by Reuters. Russian forces invaded Ukraine Thursday, and understand that it was Wednesday night in the U.S., being 7 hours later in Ukraine. It was early Thursday morning. In a massed assault by land, sea, and air, the biggest attack by one state against another in Europe since World War II. Missiles rained down. Ukraine reported columns of troops pouring across its borders from Russia and Belarus and landing on the coast from the Black and Azov Seas. Ukrainian troops fought Russian forces along practically the entire border. Explosions were heard before dawn and throughout the morning in the capital, Kyiv. 3 million people in the city. Gunfire rattled, sirens blared, and the highway out of the city choked with traffic as residents fled. Russia attacks Ukraine. Peace in Europe shattered, as reported by the Associated Press. Russia launched a wide-ranging attack on Ukraine Thursday, hitting cities and bases with airstrikes or shelling. Civilians piled into trains and cars to flee. Ukraine's government said Russian tanks and troops rolled across the border in a full-scale war. Could rewrite the geopolitical order and whose fallout already reverberated around the world. In unleashing Moscow's most aggressive action since the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan in 1979, that's 43 years ago, Putin deflected global condemnation and cascading new sanctions. This is now starting to pull in other European countries in the sense of triggering NATO Article 4. Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, Poland, and other allies are holding consultations under NATO's Article 4 after Russia has attacked Ukraine. Under Article 4 of the NATO agreement, the allies can hold consultations whenever they feel the territorial integrity, political independence, or security of an ally is threatened. This is the next signal of what could be next, and what could be next would be, man, I mean, it would be something approximating the scope of a world war. And I don't want to be hyperbolic, but when we are talking about a full-scale invasion by Russia of Ukraine, and then we are talking about the surrounding allies, including Estonia and Lithuania, etc., getting involved, how can I not say we're talking about something approximating a world war? I was going to report to you today, U.S. warns full-scale invasion of Ukraine could be imminent. This was, again, in the afternoon yesterday, the story was, we believe the intelligence points in this direction. It could be coming. It could be 48 hours. And then within hours, it happened. Within hours, it happened. Biden warns Russia of further consequences after Putin's declaration. It's going to get very ugly, politically and economically. Biden issued a statement Wednesday night condemning Russia's President Vladimir Putin's announcement of a, quote, special military operation in Ukraine, moments before Ukrainian cities were bombarded by Russian missile strikes. Consider that there were people up, and I mean, some this morning are still saying it, but there were people up until last night saying everything Putin is doing is justified because by not ruling out that Ukraine will ever join NATO, Putin is justified in everything. The invasion, the bomb, everything. Got some real problems out there. Putin sent in troops disguised with white peace monitor symbols and Ukrainian officials. Folks, it's a full invasion. Troops entering the country from Belarus were reportedly disguising themselves in Ukrainian military and police uniforms. We have various locations of where explosions were heard. We have a map up on the screen. And as you can see, it's basically the entire country. As of this morning, the western piece of Ukraine, which borders Romania, Hungary, Slovakia, has not yet seen explosions. But you have locations where CNN heard explosions and then locations where local residents reported explosions. CNN reporting that the Ukrainian Interior Ministry says they have experienced hundreds of casualties from just the first missile strikes. Hundreds already killed in Ukraine.
The vibrations, obviously those attacks, those missile strikes coming in much closer. And here's the sort of news that we've got from you. Defense officials saying that this is now, and this is a quote I'm getting from the president's office at the moment, a full-blown nationwide attack with military infrastructure that is being attacked nationwide. So the emphasis being on the military infrastructure that they say is coming under attack. We've also spoken to, again, our contact at the Interior Ministry, an Interior Ministry official, saying that across the country, as a result of these attacks, there are hundreds of casualties. Now, we don't know how many of those people are dead, how many are injured, or whether that figure is accurate. But we do know that the Interior Ministry of Ukraine is putting the number of casualties so far in this nationwide assault, missile assault at this stage, for the most part, in the hundreds.
And I apologize. I said hundreds dead. Casualties does not necessarily mean dead. It means injured or dead. And we're still going to be standing by to learn more about that. But it is not looking particularly good. The plan now is for more sanctions, more sanctions. World Express's outrage plans stronger Russia sanctions, as reported by the Associated Press. World leaders today reacted to the invasion with vows of unprecedented sanctions. And we will focus in more on the sanctions in another segment. We have incredible video from Kyiv's central train station, just flooded with people trying to get out of the city, desperation rising. And we're showing that video to our audience, just people desperate to get out. There are reports of troops coming into Ukraine, Russian troops from all sides. CNN has video of troops crossing the border of Belarus into Ukraine. That's one direction from which they are entering. There are reports of Russian military forces entering Ukraine from Crimea, making that invasion from 8 years ago all the more relevant today. This is going to be painful for Russia. I mean, the Russian stock market down 40%. If retaliation really gets going, and Ukraine says there has been some, we don't know the full scope of it yet. It is going to be painful for Russia, but it's not clear Putin cares. Ukraine's military says its air defense did shoot down a Russian plane in eastern Ukraine. Ukraine is saying anyone who's ready and able to hold a weapon can join territorial defense forces, and understand that the Russians will want to persuade Ukraine to surrender. And not only are they launching a multi-origin, multi-platform attack, they are also likely to use disinformation, fake video, and fake photos to encourage that Ukrainian surrender. And the next several days could be some of the most insane we have seen on this planet geopolitically. I don't even know since when, in a very, very long time. And the threats are now starting to come to the United States. One of our sponsors is Cometeer Coffee. Cometeer Coffee is delicious, I can tell you firsthand, and they've discovered the best way to brew, preserve, and deliver coffee. Their brewing process captures over 2,000 flavor compounds. Then the coffee is flash frozen, locking in the flavor. It arrives at your home frozen in a fully recyclable capsule. All you have to do is melt it by adding hot water or cold water for iced coffee. It takes seconds. It's the most convenient way that I have ever made coffee. I've been impressed with how the process protects the flavor. I really enjoy Cometeer. They have a variety of flavor options: light, medium, and dark single origin and blended coffee roasts from the best specialty roasters. You'll get $20 off when you go to cometeer.com/Pacman. The link is underneath this video.